All right, guys, so here's where we want to basically make a call on which persona or audience essentially to target. So the first step before you even go into this is to actually touch base with your client and to ask them. Ask them what they're seeing on their side. If you have gotten some messages through, right? If you haven't, then that's fine. You don't need to ask them. But if you did get some people, some leads essentially, message the page, it's important that you touch base with your client and say, hey, just touching base, what's been the quality of the leads? What are you seeing on your end? The reason this is really important is because just because an ad set is getting you really cheap cost per leads doesn't mean that that's going to convert into customers. So cheap leads do not always mean customers. And so we don't want to essentially roll out a campaign focusing on a persona that on the front looks really good, but will never generate customers for our client. And then ultimately our client decides to dump us after a month or two because it doesn't work, right? So it's important to touch base with your client first about that. Now, if your client says to you, ask them also about specific personas. Are you seeing a specific type of persona that comes through? This is the personas we're testing now. Which ones are you seeing as good? So if your client comes back and says, yeah, they're good, we've had a couple good brides come through, but the rest have been a bit shady or a bit dodgy, then what you could say here is go, okay, well, these audiences here, we're killing them right away, and we know that now it's between these two. So you can then go and optimize and look at the stats on that. If your client comes back and says to you, yeah, they've all been pretty good, we're pretty impressed so far, hopefully we'll close some of them. What you then do is at the ad set level, you're going to pull up your performance and clicks here in your reporting tab. And we're going to look at the soft stats. I don't know why this one's blurred out at the moment. I must have changed something. So what we're looking at is your click-through rate, link click, and your cost per click for link clicks here as well. And we're aiming for something around 1% here, and then something that's not too expensive. So anything under $3 here. Now, as you can see, we have one that is doing really well right away. And this one has had 7 messages out of 46 clicks, which is a pretty good conversion rate. You want anything over 4 to 5% would be pretty good. And the reason it's so low here is that, remember, we're just doing straight up direct response in our copy here. There's no offers, there's no hooks. So 4 to 5% is pretty good, anything above that. So we've got this one that's doing pretty good, and we also have this one here, which is getting us a 1% click-through rate and a fairly decent cost per click. So whereas this one here, our brides, they're just not engaging with this creative. So I can go ahead and turn this one off now. And likewise, this one here, our click-through rate, I'm not saying that, prom, we would never roll out a funnel for this. It could just be that the creative that we rolled out didn't really work in this situation. But because we have other ad sets that are doing so well, and because this one hasn't generated us a single message, at this stage, we can loop back to it later on, but we are going to pause it for now. And so it really comes down to these two ad sets at the moment, which both have very healthy click-through rates and very healthy cost per clicks. So let's have a look at our brides, our blanket targeting, to see if it's even better at the ad level. So you'll see here we have we were optimizing. So at the ad level, we're getting a really good cost per click, and we had 7 clicks here, but no messages on this ad. So the conversion rate here isn't so hot. This one did get us 1 message out of 3 clicks. So because of that, what I would recommend is, at this stage, what I would be doing is I would go, okay, well, we can revisit the brides, this persona, but at this stage, we have a much stronger ad set based off our click-through rate, our cost per click, and also the number of messages that we're getting. This persona here, the general audience of, general hairstyle upkeep, etc., is showing the most promise at this stage. So we can loop back to this one later on, and I think it's because I need to publish this. And I can pause this at the ad level so that I know to come back to this later on so that it's active at the ad set level. All right, great. And in the next step, what I'm going to do now that I know the persona that I'm going to be going after is inside the very same ad set, so this one here, I'm actually going to be rolling out different ads with different hooks and different offers, and I'll be naming those ads RF, RF2, 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 so that I know they're part of my rapid fire round number 2. So that's going to be the next step where we actually test out, we go out with an offer and a hook to this general audience to see which one of those offers and hooks. And we're actually going to test it against this existing ad to see which one gets us the best results. Is it that they don't even need an offer? They don't even need a hook, right? That's what we're trying to figure out next.